So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build a cover for a digital magazine for the fictitious company Montan here in Comp on my iPad. So I'm going to tap the plus on the left hand side and then choose a format. This one's going to be iPad landscape, like so. And once that opens up, I'm going to add a grid and perhaps some guides to help me balance my design out. So I'm going to tap the gear at the top and then choose to add some columns to my grid. And of course I could tune this by going up to the top left hand corner, tapping just there and adding them or reducing them also. So I actually want 10 points gutter in between the columns there. And I want a bottom margin of around about 72 points. Now I've done that, you can see that that's complete. I just want to add one horizontal guide just here, which I can then move into position like so. So I'll run that around about 222, that sort of mark there. And if I tap done, now my layout is ready for me to populate with content. Well, I don't have a suitable cover image for this, so I'm going to swap out to Photoshop Mix. I'm just going to close this, and actually while I'm at it, I'm going to name this particular file here because it will help later on. So I'll just clear that, and I'm going to call this Ascend Mag Cover, there like so. And I'm going to pop out now to Photoshop Mix. So if I close this down and open Photoshop Mix, and I'll tap on the left hand side to add a new mix, I'm going to search from Adobe Stock, and I want to include El Capitan here. So I'm going to search for images or El Capitan and have a look at what I've got. This is one I've used already just here, and I'll search through a few of these. I think I'll go back to my search, and this one looks interesting. So I'm going to save a preview of this to my Montan magazine library. And now that's saved to the library, I can either work on it in here or I can just use it as is. But I want to do something with the sky. So I'm going to cut this out first. I'm just going to tap cut out and then brush across here with my finger. And the smart brush learns really, really quickly what I'm after. So I can do this like so. And what I'm actually doing here is creating a Photoshop mask on the fly. This will draw like this. I can zoom in. So there's an area here I need to remove. So I'm going to tap minus there and brush around this with my finger. I think this might be a bit problematic, so I'm going to swap to the basic brush and just add in the stuff that I removed. There like so. And also in this corner here where it was a less than great job. And I can just paint backwards and forwards between those really, really quickly. If I zoom out of that, then I've got a gap down here where the watermark is. So I don't need to worry too much about the watermark, because if I license this later on, then Creative Cloud will synchronize this for me. So I'm kind of happy with that. If I had made a mistake at any point, I can just go back into it by tapping cut out, because it's entirely non-destructive. In fact, if I went along here like so, you could see that the mask there, if I just undo that, that the mask there is just hiding the content, not erasing it at all. So I'm going to introduce now a sky image just to make this a little bit more dramatic, and I'm going to search my Creative Cloud libraries, and in my Montan magazine library I have a couple of different candidates here, kind of like this one. So I'll just get a preview of this, and that's perfect. I'm going to use that file. So that will be brought down now, and I can just bring this in like so under the bottom, and then just drop that up to change this. And if I want to zoom a bit, I can. Let's get something that looks a bit sort of hyper real just there. I'm liking that. That's very dramatic. So now I'm going to save this out to a library. So I'm actually going to come back out to the main screen. I'm going to tap for new composition, and I'm just going to call this Ascend 11, which is the title of this particular magazine. And then I'm going to tap the share icon and save this to a library. And so this will be dropped into the default My Library that every Creative Cloud account has. And I can see there now that that's stored. So let's go back to Comp and into the Ascend Mag cover job, and we'll bring this in. So I'm going to go to My Libraries, and I'll go to My Library, and there is the composite that I've made just there. So I'm going to drag that down to the bottom left-hand corner, and then resize the frame for the content like so. Kind of happy with that, that's good. And now I'm going to lock this so that I don't accidentally interact with it later on. Now it's time for me to bring in some more of my assets. So I'm going to change out to the magazine assets and bring in this tag. First of all, this goes up into the top left-hand side there and is 2 columns wide. So you can see I can set that really easily. And diagonally opposite that, we have the reversed version with the orange type just there. So I'll just bring that down and resize that and then position that like so. Now we have the word Ascend at the top, so I'm just going to tap for type. And in my libraries, in Montan Magazine, I've actually got a cover style just there, so I can add that. I'm going to retype the actual word I would like in here. So that's going to be Ascend. Change the size of the frame. And then just to the right there, I've got a widget which I can drag up and down to change the size of the type. So I'm going to put this in position like so, make the frame a little bit wider, and then just push this up till that's the right size for me, and align it just there on that guide. One of the other things I can store in libraries are my colours, and you can see here in my Montan 16 library I've got the corporate colours associated with these projects, and I can just tap there like so to change that. And the final thing I have to do here is to add a small feature box at the bottom. So I'm just going to draw a feature box like so with a rounded corners, and when this opens, whoops, that was a glitchy one, so I'll draw this again. So I'll just draw like so with a rounding on the corners. And so now I get a rounded box and have a small widget at the top here that allows me to change the roundness. I can make that slightly larger. And again, this is where I go back to my corporate colors and I use this and then drop the opacity down to about 80% in that sort of region. There, like so. There we are, perfect. 81 will do just fine for the purpose of this. And then on top of that, I have an image frame that goes on there. So I'm going to draw an image frame just here and then move that to this location and just resize that. And once I've got that sized, the only other thing I need here right now is a subheading. Now I don't have that from my library on my iPad, so I'm just going to tap to download that information. And now that's there, I can just tap on this, and this adds me, I've added the body style there by mistake, so I'll just remove that and I'll bring that down. But you could see how quick that is to add that like so. So I'll bring that in, change the nature of the frame. This needs to be slightly smaller text than this, so I'll bring this down about 3 lines of text on there. I'll bring that down a bit more and then change the interlinear space here. Just make those a bit larger. Perfect. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group these things together by lassoing them, and then I'm going to draw 2 more of these that I'll be using later on. And the easiest way for me to do that is just to draw a plus like so, and then they will be added. I'm not too worried about their alignment at the moment, so I'm just going to park them over to the side here because I'll be changing that when I get into InDesign later. But for now, I'm going to push this from here out to InDesign. And so that will whir away and it sends it up to Creative Cloud, and then it will send it back down to my desktop machine. And without any interaction with me, it should open InDesign and then populate it with this document. And that's where we'll pick up in the next installment.